Okay, here we are again. This is the Zoo Man. And before we get into today's story, I want to give you a couple of basic facts about the vaccine. So, you've been hearing some stories and some facts or not facts about the vaccine. And, our infamous leader and chief of dementia, Pinocchio Joe, has stated that, it's the unvaccinated that have been spreading this virus. And I want to tell you, and these are the numbers that were in the New York Times, that paper that used to be the benchmark of journalism and has slipped in the last 20 years because, they just don't really print stories that are really that factual, but these really have been, fact checked. But anyway, here's what they said: that 95% of those Americans 65 and over are vaccinated. 86% of those 18 and over have at least one shot of the vaccine. And then 14% of Americans are completely unvaxxed. That means 14% of Americans have no shots at all. So what does that mean? According to President Biden, 14% of the US population must be running all over the country spreading the virus, getting into airplanes that require the passport, flying all over the country, along with, of course, the illegal immigrants coming through our southern border and, infecting everybody across the country. Well, we know that's BS. So anyway, now back to the original story. We heard the president in his address the nation speech, whatever you want to call it. He was in rough shape, let me tell you. And so we compare that to some of his campaign promises. And what he promised in his campaign was, he said, number one was he wasn't gonna shut down the country. He was gonna shut down the virus. Of course, he wasn't saying it in such a strong voice as I was saying it. And then what else did he say here? He also said, we will not leave any Americans behind in Afghanistan. Well, we know that didn't come to pass. And he said, we will not force any Americans to take the vaccine against their will. And he said a number of other things. He also talked about, election integrity. We also know what that means. So I brought this, I bought this, this thing. I want to put it on because I think it's a fair representation of what our president really should be wearing when he gives all his speeches. Here it is. What do you think? And that's why I call him Pinocchio Joe. Now, I also have another a little accessory. And this, I call her Psaki. Now, the reason is because every time Pinocchio Joe gives his speech, what happens? The next day, little Psaki, she has to come out. Now she comes out and she says, well, what the president means is I had to speak with him last night after his speech, and what he meant to say was this or that. He didn't really mean what he said because we had our own discussion And when he addressed the complete population of the United States, he didn't mean anything he said. He meant the complete opposite. So, anyway, that's all I have to say about that. So, what can we get from this? What did we glean from all this? Is that when the president speaks, obviously, he don't know what he's saying, or Miss Jen Psaki here has to come up and completely retract everything he says. Why? Now, earlier in his presidency, now he's only been president a year, but the first 100 days or so, they didn't even want him speaking to the press unless he had his little cheat sheets in his pocket. He also said last night, and this was incredible, he said, if you ask me easy questions, we can get through this a lot quicker. Really? You're the president of the United States. Folks, listen, we got journalists here that are lying or asking easy questions. We got the president of the United States who don't know his ass from his elbow. You got the press secretary constantly, cleaning up all his speeches. You got all the Democrats, in the Congress, constantly trying to change the rules so that they can stay in power. This country's in rough shape. Anyway, this is the Zoo Man. Please give me your comments, pass this along, subscribe, and I'm signing out. Have a great day.